London, 1837. A city of shadows, industry, and secrets. But as the sun dipped below the Thames, a new kind of fear began to take root in the narrow alleys of the East End. It wasn't a common thief or a stray dog that the residents feared. It was something impossible. Something that could leap over 9-foot walls in a single bound. Something with eyes like flaming red wheels and a cackle that could freeze the blood in your veins. They called him Spring-Heeled Jack. Long before the Ripper haunted these same streets, Jack was the original terror of Victorian England. But was he a man, a demon, or a ghost? Tonight, we dive into the mystery of the Leaping Devil. Our story begins in October 1837 with a young servant named Mary Stevens. She was walking through the darkness of Clapham Common when a figure suddenly vaulted from the shadows. He grabbed her in a grip so tight she couldn't move and began to tear at her clothes. But it was the touch of his hands that truly terrified her. She later described his claws as being cold and clammy as those of a corpse. Mary's screams brought help, and the figure vanished into the night. But he wasn't finished. The very next day, a man-like creature leapt in front of a passing carriage, causing a horrific crash that severely injured the driver. Witnesses watched in disbelief as the attacker casually scaled a 9-foot wall, disappearing while letting out a high-pitched, ringing laughter. By 1838, the hysteria was no longer just gossip, it was official. The Lord Mayor of London, Sir John Cowan, held a public session at the Mansion House to address a mountain of letters from terrified citizens. One letter claimed that a group of aristocrats had made a wicked wager to scare unsuspecting women by dressing as a ghost, a bear, and a devil. But if this was just a prank, it was a deadly one. Reports flooded in from Ealing, Kensington, and Hammersmith. Women were being frightened into dangerous fits, and some were left so traumatized they were expected to be burdens on their families for the rest of their lives. On the night of February 19th, 1838, 18-year-old Jane Alsop answered her father's door to a man claiming to be a policeman. He shouted for a light, claiming they had caught Spring-Heeled Jack in the lane. But when Jane tried to hand him a candle, he threw off his cloak to reveal a hideous and frightful appearance. He wore a kind of helmet and a tight-fitting garment like white oilskin. Then, something crazily weird happened. He spat blue and white flames directly into her face. As she tried to flee, he clawed at her with hands that felt like metallic blades. Only her sister's desperate intervention saved her before Jack bounded away into the darkness. Just 8 days later, Lucy Scales and her sister were walking through Limehouse when a tall, thin gentleman in a cloak stepped out. Without a word, he vomited blue fire into Lucy's face, blinding her and causing violent seizures that lasted for hours.
As the decades rolled on, Jack didn't age, he simply moved. In 1855, he was blamed for the Devil's Footprints in Devon, 100 miles of hoof-like tracks in the snow that zigzagged over rooftops and high walls in a single night. In 1877, he even took on the British Army. At the Aldershot garrison, A sentry reported a figure that slapped his face before leaping onto the roof of a sentry box. When the guards opened fire, the bullets seemed to have no effect. Jack just cackled and vanished with astonishing bounds. His final appearances took place in Liverpool. In 1888, he was reportedly seen perched atop the roof of St. Francis Xavier's Church in Everton. Local legend says that in 1904, an angry mob chased him to a water reservoir in Toxteth, where he made one final impossible leap across the water and vanished from history forever. So who was he?
Theories range from the grounded to the truly bizarre. Many pointed to Henry de la Poer Beresford, the Marquess of Waterford. Known as the Mad Marquis, he was a notorious prankster with a contempt for authority and a history of drunken brawls. Others suggest Jack was a phantom attacker or even an extraterrestrial with superhuman agility from a high-gravity world. But perhaps his most lasting legacy isn't fear, but inspiration. By the late 19th century, Jack transitioned from a villain in Penny Dreadfuls to a costumed, altruistic avenger. In many ways, Spring-Heeled Jack, the fire-breathing terror of London, was the direct ancestor of the modern superhero, the Victorian version of Batman. Whether he was a series of copycat pranks, a mass hallucination, or something truly supernatural, Spring-Heeled Jack remains England's most enduring urban legend. He reminds us that even in the age of reason and industry, there are shadows that the gas lights can't quite reach. But what do you think? Was Jack a bored nobleman with a set of springs, or something from another world? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey into Victorian terror, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history's greatest mysteries. Keep your eyes on the rooftops. You never know what might be leaping through the fog.